Let's have a conversation.
What's happening, y'all? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I hope everyone is having a great Monday so far. I know the day just started for some of y'all. It just started for me. Well, it didn't just start for me. I was up this morning preparing this topic for everybody. And then everything was all set. And then, like 5 minutes before I was about to go live, the computer froze, of course. I need a new computer badly, but I refuse to be someone who opens up a GoFundMe account or anything like that for a computer. I want to actually be able to say that my work that I put into this page earned me enough to upgrade my equipment. So that would be a big accomplishment for me. Good morning, Lisa. My weekend was so. Good morning. Good morning, Trisha. This is your topic actually. This is one of your topics that you sent me. This is one of your topics that you sent me, so I'm sure it looks familiar to you. Okay, so I'm going to be jumping into this. But before I jump into this, please, if you haven't yet, make sure to like, subscribe, and also hit the notification bell so that you get notified of when I drop some more great content. So the topic here is, when is it okay for me to leave people behind? Now, I have kind of compiled my own list. This is not something that I took from somewhere else. When I put these together, they're my own thoughts from my own life experiences. And I always say, kind of as a disclaimer, these are things that I have learned throughout the course of my life. Some people might not find them applicable to them. Use what works for you. Don't use what doesn't work for you. That's what I do. If I see something and it resonates with me, I take it and I use it. If that particular thing doesn't resonate with me, then I look for something else that does. So that's how I'm starting this. How are you doing, Heidi? Heidi Ho. Some of y'all names are funny on these apps. So I'm just going to jump right in a second. Okay. All right. When is it okay to leave people behind? So the first thing that I have here on my list, their purpose in your life has been fulfilled. They say that some people enter our lives for a time, for a reason, or for a season. We don't know this at the beginning, but we discover it along the way. Don't give anyone a lifetime achievement award. And I'm going to explain that in a second. Interesting topic. Yes, it is. Thank Trisha for that topic. I'm anxious to hear your list. I'm going through some things with family. Holidays are hard, y'all. Family, I feel like for these topics is always a whole different element, but some of these things can apply for family as well. So yeah, getting back to this, some people enter our lives for a time, for a reason, for a season. We don't know this at the beginning, but we discover it along the way. Don't give anyone a lifetime achievement award. So I had a specific story in mind for this particular slide. And it was a friend that I met during the time when my mental health was at its worst in about 2013. And I met this friend, and I guess you could say we trauma bonded. We became very close. We met actually at the clinic that I was seeing my therapist and talking to my talk therapist. And we talked about all the different things that were going on in our respective lives. She had this type of stuff going on, and I had this type of stuff going on. And we came together when we would see each other at the clinic, and we would say, my life is terrible. This and this is going on. I'm sad about this. I feel stressed about this. I go through these mental health issues. It's not fair. And anyone who's been in that type of position knows it's a little bit on the toxic side, but it's also comforting because you're like, I have somebody to share all of my pain, all my struggles, all the worst parts about whatever is going on in my life. And they're going to be available to listen to me unlimited, indefinite. The thing is, something that I coined as a phrase for myself is let's throw solution parties instead of pity parties. Now, by that, I mean, it is great to have people in your life who you can talk to when you're going through problems and when you are going through pain, right? But if you and that person are continuing to just come together and recycle and regurgitate the pain and nobody's offering any solutions, then there's nothing like productive about that relationship, and it's not helping you to get out of wherever you're trying to get out of. Oh my gosh, yes, it's a negative. Wait. It's all negative, but they relate, so you go back to it. Yeah, and we know this. We actually know this in concept. It's just hard to let it go. So that was a person who was in my life maybe for a time and for a reason and for a season. I needed that person at that time. So what ended up happening is as I was going more through therapy and as I was reading different books and doing whatever I had to do to get better mentally, I started to get to a point where I was highly aware of those conversations and the directions that those conversations were going. Because in order for me to foster healing in my life, I couldn't have those types of conversations anymore. Because they were not providing me with any positivity and they were not providing me with any solutions. So as I would be talking to this friend before, it was comforting hearing a regurgitation of all of our problems and being asked, Mark, tell me all the things that are going on at home and tell me what's going on here and tell me what's going on with you mentally. And I was used to doing that, and that felt comforting at that time. It started to feel toxic because I was like, I can't keep circling back here because I'm trying to move forward. So then I had an issue. That's a really good example. Thank you. So then I had an issue, though. This is why I put don't give anyone a lifetime achievement award at the end of this. I was wondering, what do I do with this person who at one time was a comfort to me and now feels like just a toxic weight that is just kind of holding me down? And I felt conflicted because I was like, I didn't use that person. I didn't intend to feel differently about them over some time. And I do have to give them some credit because when I was down, when I was low, when I was going through the worst of the worst, they were always there to listen, which was a nice thing about them. But it also made it hard for me to figure out what can I do from here? Because I'm like, I can't keep having these conversations. I'm scared to say something to them because I wonder if they'll be hurt, offended, etc., etc. Good morning, Shai. Yes, I'm going to get to this comment. So it was a tough position. It was a very tough position, especially for somebody like me who is an empath. So I think that I talked to my therapist about it, as a matter of fact, and the therapist basically told me, There could be people in your life that were close to you at one time, but then there could become a time when they no longer serve you. And I was like, ouch. So the therapist is like, this person might have reached their time, and you need to appreciate that person for what they provided for you at that time, but you're in a different space. And if they can't grow with you, they can't come with you. And again, I'm like, ouch, because I'm thinking of the type of conversation that I'm going to need to have with this person. So I didn't want to have the conversation that the therapist suggested for me to have with her, where I just said flat out, I can't deal with your energy anymore, so I have to cut off this friendship. You can do that, but what I chose to do was to actually just give her a chance to know where I'm feeling and see where it would go from there. So I basically explained everything. I said, hey, I want to talk to you about something. I know that there was a time when we were both in this really dark, low place, and we came together and met, befriended one another, and talked about all of our different issues and all of our different problems that have been going on in our lives. And I said, now I'm starting to work on myself and I'm starting to grow a little bit. And I need our conversations to be more positive, more productive, and more solution based. And I thought that that was a great, way to put it, and a great way to express myself to that person. They were mad, even at that, even the way that I said it, they were mad at that. Oh, I see that you done changed up. I remember when they started throwing things in my face. I remember when you were telling me about this, and I remember when you were here, you didn't have any friends, and I was friends with you, and now all of a sudden you come up a little bit and you don't want to be my friend anymore, blah, blah, blah. Even though I didn't say I don't want to be your friend, I just said I want our conversation. I need our conversations actually to be more positive and more productive. So that's how that went. And that person was really angry and just cut me off after that. They cut me off. That's how that happened. And at first I said to myself, man, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Because maybe I was wrong for that. Maybe I should have just kept things going as they were, because that friend did do a lot for me. I was kind of marinating over what they had said to me in that conversation. But now, years later, in retrospect, I did the right thing and I should have done it sooner. That's why I say don't give anyone a lifetime achievement award. What I mean by that specifically is don't think that the length of time that somebody is in your life determines whether they should be there now or not. Because sometimes you might just have known somebody for a while and say they've been there for this amount of time, so I can't cut them out. The time should not be the biggest factor or the only factor. Okay, I'm going to read this comment by Lisa. There are a couple people in my life that I can't answer the phone for when I'm in a tough headspace. I can relate. One I've known my whole life, and I want to be there for her when she needs a friend or a shoulder. I can relate. Sometimes we have to set those boundaries more for ourselves than anything, because of we know what's going to happen when we interact with these certain people in these situations. Yeah. What's so funny, Lisa? So I remember I started to learn something about Facebook. It's kind of funny with Facebook. I post things on Facebook like what I post here on my YouTube page. Positivity, positive quotes. I post about my morning routine. I post about how I handle conflicts, all those kind of things that I do on here. I do it on my Facebook. And I have like a select group of people, not a group that I selected, but I should say a group of people that it resonates with, that always respond to those things when I post them, just like here. Then there's another group. If I was like, yo, I got on the bus and then the bus driver made this slick comment and then I cursed him out. He stood up and then I stood up and then I swung on him. I know the people that are going to respond to that. And how I'm relating that to your comment is that I know people who, if I say I'm going through some crazy situation, they're there for it. They want to hear all of that. They want to talk about all of that. But if it's something where it requires positivity or it's not so exciting, they're not there. They're not interested in that. It might not be the exact same thing as what you're talking about, but it just made me think about that. I had a friend like that, Lisa D, but I had to cut her loose just recently. I had a similar experience. They started cutting me off because I wasn't acting the same. The problem worked itself out, but I still felt bad about it. Trisha, I think that I didn't write this down in my notes, but what you just said was something that I wanted to say. You know how those people, especially on social media, are like, yo, I'm going through this cutting phase. I'm cutting all these people out. I'm cutting out toxicity. I'm cutting out negativity. I'm cutting out this, right? There's nothing wrong with that, I guess. There's nothing wrong with the purge. But I relate it to like fitness, let's say nutrition. You're trying to go on a nutrition plan for the benefit of your health, right? So the people that always need to go through major cutting phases are the people who indulge too much in the first place. I'll say that again. The people that need to go into these cutting phases, especially these extreme ones, are the people who indulge too much in the first place. So you have to go through like smaller cuts in your daily life, and it doesn't have to be in an extreme fashion. Sometimes just letting people know what you're about and what you require, and the fact that they have to be here to be able to be in that space with you, they will fall off automatically. If they can't provide you the positivity or whatever it is that you need, they will fall off the map by themselves. You don't have to go through these, oh, I'm going to cut off all my friends. Think about every person that is in your life, every person that enters your life, and continuously work on having a quality of people around you to where you don't have to make major cuts. Obviously, there are situations that do require you to do some kind of hard cutoff for somebody, like something that you didn't imagine that they just did that was really huge out of nowhere, that may require an extreme, like I have to cut you out and go through this big cutting thing. But typically, make sure the quality of those people around you is good all the time so that you don't have to do that. Where are we at? I understand where you're coming from, Trisha. Even my wedding day was all about her all day. Oh no. My problem is I couldn't imagine cutting her out. It's not always simple. It's not always cut and dry. I just learned to understand how she moves and don't let it affect me. Others in my life, Merry Christmas or Happy Birthday is how far it goes. Yeah. So it's not always cut and dry is what I'm trying to say. It's not always simple, and not everybody you cut out altogether. Family is a great example of this. There's some people that you actually have the luxury of just being able to say goodbye, Merry Christmas, Happy Birthday, as Lisa just said. But there's others who you know are going to be in your life. They could be blood related. They could be people who are just around your circles all the time. They're people who it's going to be just awkward and hard for you not to interact with them at all. And in those cases is where you have to work on boundary setting. And in some cases, I have friends like that too, Lisa, where I'm like, this person is going to be my lifelong friend. However, I know the box that they sit in. I'm not going to look at this peach and expect it to turn into a plum. I'm going to just know that this is what it is. This is what this person provides. And these are the scenarios that I can have them in my space. And these are the scenarios that I will not be in contact with them. It is what it is. I love that. It doesn't have to be extreme fashion. So true. I'm finding quality over quantity is spot on. Yes, Trisha. And there was a time in my life too where I wanted the quantity. And I looked at other people with the quantity and I was like, why can't I have that kind of quantity? But over time and circumstances that I've dealt with in life, is like, I'm glad to have a few core people that I know that if I need them, they're going to be there and they're going to be able to help me in positive and productive ways. Okay, so I'm going to go on to the next slide. That's funny. My friend, well, Mark, that friend is moving to New York soon, so you can have her. That's funny, Lisa. That is hilarious. If the person brings you feelings of sadness, anxiousness, anger, or generally disturbs your peace more than they bring you joy. If the person brings you feelings of sadness, anxiousness, anger, or generally disturbs your peace more than they bring you joy. I'm a vibes person. I am a vibes person. Have you ever felt somebody who at one time usually made you happy and feel peaceful or whatever, and then all of a sudden things have changed for whatever reason, and now when they come around you, you already start to feel a gut feeling. You're like, I do not feel comfortable around this person because I know the type of energy that they're bringing to the table for me. It doesn't take me long to realize energy shifts myself. And those kind of people at this point in my life, is just a hard no. It's just a hard no, even if it's family. Even if it's family, for those people, it'll be like, I'll interact with you when I have to, when we're around each other. But I'm not giving you my energy. So if that person is making you feel bad in any of these kind of ways, it's time for them to go. And you need to be evaluating that. Why do I feel this way when I'm around this person? Is it something that we can talk about and work on? If so, we need to schedule that conversation. If not, I have to protect my own peace and my own energy. I'm a vibes person too. Yeah. The next thing that I have on here, if your boundaries are constantly and intentionally being violated. Yes, definitely keeping that negativity is almost like letting yourself be abused. It's hard to identify sometimes, especially when it's somebody who is always around you. Especially when it's somebody, if it's somebody that you're only seeing once in a while, you can clearly tell when something different is going on or when you start to feel differently regarding a person. But if it's somebody who is constantly in your space, you see them every day or very often and talk to them very often, interact with them very often, it's hard to see. And I had people like that, especially as I was talking about purges. The beginning of the pandemic was like a world purge for me because there was people in my life at that time that were just holding space. And now, because of the fact that I'm in my own house and I'm not seeing them anymore, it required specific effort for us to remain in contact. And for some of them, I was like, you know what? I usually make the effort. So let me just kick back and see what happens if I don't. And in a lot of cases, we just stop talking. And I said, I'm kind of thankful. It was hard at first, but I'm like, I'm kind of thankful for situations like that that sort themselves out and let you know what's up without you having to even go through a major process. I feel the same way for myself, Trisha. I had a huge problem with boundaries before I started going to therapy as well. My circle has shrunk and changed immensely. Mine too. My boundaries are literally sacred to me and keeping my peace. And I've said this, believe it or not, the therapy and the boundary setting helped me for when I got to this YouTube page. So I feel like everything goes in an order. There are things that have happened and been said on this very page that if I was the same person I was prior, I would not have this page anymore. I'd shut the whole page down because I wouldn't be able to handle it. Instead, I set my boundaries. I tell everyone, if you want to engage or interact with me on this page, you have to meet these certain standards that I've set. And if they don't, I just block them. Simple as that. But this thing that I want to say about boundaries, I worded it like this on purpose. If your boundaries are constantly and intentionally being violated, okay? This is key when I say intentionally, because sometimes we don't express our boundaries, so people don't know that they are violating them. Like, for instance, I've used this example in a previous one of these talks that I did. You have a requirement in your head that when somebody walks into your house, they need to take off their shoes, right? Because that's what you do. You're like, I don't want their dirty shoes in my house, and I don't want them tracking whatever came in from outside all around the house. So they need to take off their shoes because I take off my shoes. But perhaps in their house, they do not take off their shoes. They don't care, and it's not important to them. So they're not even thinking about that when they walk into your house. So they're walking into your house, shoes on, you never say anything. Every time they do that, you're getting heated inside. You know, you're like, why is this person disrespecting my house and disrespecting my boundaries? But did you tell them, I do not allow shoes to be on for someone to walk through the door, right? So if you didn't tell them, you're the only one who's feeling anything and they're not. So make sure that you have clearly conveyed to them, hey, in order for you to be in my house, please respect the house and the house rules and take off your shoes before coming into the house. And then if you know that you have clearly told them to do that and they come into the house and they don't do that, you know that they violated a boundary that you have actually told them about, and you go from there versus it being like a what if situation where you have regrets. Where are we here? Lisa, really is. I catch myself slipping sometimes. It's constant effort. It's worth it though. For anyone who's watching, that's about the boundary setting. That's great, Trisha. It's kind of like being on heart meds that you're supposed to take daily to stay alive, and you intentionally skip days. Perfect example. Oh, Mark, the shoes example was so great. I clipped and shared that with a few people. So helpful. Yeah, I like to. There's certain analogies that I use that can apply to so many different scenarios, and the shoes off one is a big one. The shoes off one is a big one. Okay, let me get to this next slide. If you don't find that you have the right synergy / frequency, sorry for the spelling error, frequency. If you don't have the right synergy and frequency, and this could be at the beginning of a relationship and it could be deep into the relationship, to be honest with you, because synergy is a big thing for me now. Even these relationships that I have with you guys online, synergy is like it's not everybody that I am communicating with all the time. It's not every comment that I'm responding to. It's the ones that resonate with me and the people that resonate with me the most, and the people that I feel are heading in the same direction as me. Frequency is not a thing, it's a feeling. It's not something you can put on paper. It's synergy and frequency are not things that you can necessarily like put on paper and define. It's more like a feeling. And you get a clearer understanding of that feeling through conversations that you're having with those people, with actions that they're doing, and how they align with the path that you're on. Your example is great too. I totally relate. Yeah, people that relate to the path that you're on. There could be somebody who says all the right things, but then their actions are totally different. We all know those positive vibes only people that are on social media, and the first thing that they're posting in the morning is positive vibes only, peace and love. But you know personally that those are some of the most toxic people in real life. But based on what they're saying, you would think that they align with you. So that's another thing. You have to make sure that the words and the actions are meeting up. It's so hard to remember that our mental health is exactly the same as our physical health. Yes, and yeah, our mental health is exactly the same as our physical health, and just as important. Okay, on to this next slide. I think I have two more. This one kind of goes with the last one. If they are constantly throwing you off of your goals. I know not everyone is going to necessarily relate to this or connect as deeply as I feel about this, but in order for somebody to be occupying a lot of my time and a lot of my space, at the very least, they have to not be getting in the way. At minimum, they have to not be getting in the way of the goals that I have set for myself. Now, they don't have to be doing the same things that I'm doing. For an example, there's people I'm very close to in life that we believe in a lot of the same things. We're working towards a lot of similar things, but have no interest in the fitness competitions that I do. That's not a problem for them not having interest in my fitness competitions, right? But it would be a problem if I said, okay, this is my gym time, and they hit me up during the gym time, and it's like, let's go to Fridays. Let's go to Denny's. I'm having this barbecue. Stop by. You know, things that they're doing that are not that are taking me away from the things that I want to do with my life. Things that are distractions and things that move me away from the goals that I'm working towards. So that's why I say, at the very least, okay, I know that Mark's gym time is here. I know that he eats this way. So if we're hanging out, I will try to find a healthy restaurant as an option. Or if I know that he's exercising at this time, I will not contact him at this time because I know that that's his time to do what he's doing. And for me, when people are constantly doing things that are throwing me off of the goals that I'm trying to achieve, they are not going to occupy my time. Even if I don't cut them out completely, they will now be in this specific box, right? Where I'm like, I have to complete all these tasks first before I even think of contacting them. And then, because I know that they do things that throw me off my goals, I have to kind of provide the framework for this meetup or conversation or whatever it is. You'll occupy this very tiny space with me because I can't have you around, because it keeps me from achieving the things that I want to achieve. Some people don't want to see you make your goals. Those are the people that I need to let go in my life. Yeah. If sometimes it's unintentional, and those are kind of more the ones I'm talking about, the unintentional ones. Those are the ones that I set boundaries and constraints, I guess you could say, with how much time I talk to them, how much time I spend with them, and how much energy I give them. But there are others who just don't want to see you reach whatever goal it is. And those ones just got to go. There's no way around that. Some people don't even realize they're doing it, but they consistently sabotage your goals. Absolutely. Next slide. This is a hard one, and it goes back to what I said in the first slide. If you feel like you have outgrown them, nobody wants to be outgrown, but people can be outgrown. I can be outgrown. Somebody else in my life, I can outgrow them. Outgrowing them does not mean that you're just onto something better and you leave them behind. It can mean a lot of things, emotionally, spiritually. There's many different ways. Now, I'm a person where I'm constantly about growth. If you leave me in one spot and come back 5 minutes later, I'm not going to be in that same spot. One of my coworkers said to me one time, "Mark, you don't let the grass grow under your feet." And I found that phrase to be so hilarious to me because it was so true. Like, I don't let the grass grow under my feet. Like, you knock me down. By the time you reach your hands down to help me up, I'm already going to be further along than the last place you saw me. So I'm a person of constant growth. So if I'm around people who we're in this space when I met you, and I'm starting to go this direction and you're still here, how can you be in my space? I'm a person who perpetually feels like we learn and we grow and we evolve, or we should learn and grow and evolve. If you're not learning a lesson from what's going on in your life and you're not constantly refining and doing things differently, you become a person who's very stagnant. And it's okay to outgrow somebody. Don't let anyone ever make you feel like it's not okay to outgrow somebody. Because in my example that I used for you guys, that's what that person tried to do for me when I expressed how I felt. Oh, you're too cool for school. I was here for you when it's a manipulation tactic, really, to be like, I was there for you when that guy punched you in the face, or when you got robbed at the bus stop, or, whatever happened. I was there when this happened to you, and this one and this one. And all of a sudden now things start to go well for you, and you just want to get rid of me. No, it's not about things go well. Ultimately, I feel like we would all love to be able to take the same people with us that we started with. Like, if we started on that trauma bond, we both grew together, and now we're both in this place together. But honestly, only a small percentage of those people are really going to be able to come with us. That's just the way that life goes. That's something I've learned in life. And then there will be all those other people that will be like, I knew him or her when, and he or she changed up on me, when that's usually not even the case. You hit the nail on the head, Mark, and that's exactly what's happened between me and my friend. I have outgrown her. And it's a hard thing, and it's a hard thing to accept sometimes, and it's a harder discussion to have with another person, but it's a necessary one if you are trying to get to your destination. That should always be your primary goal. My friend is like standing in one spot and not moving. Yeah, I can definitely relate. I can understand. So I'm getting to, I think I have one left. This one is just a statement. Whatever your reason is, you don't need validation. A person's presence in our space is a privilege and not a right. Before you make a choice to cut someone out, think carefully of the pros and cons. Consult with someone you trust. As they say, measure twice, cut once. That's a very simple one. You don't have to have really specific parameters for deciding to cut someone out. It could be a very specific boundary that you have that's extremely important to you that requires an immediate cutoff. Or it could be a situation where it was a long buildup over time, or anything in between. It's your life and it's your choice. That's why I say a person's presence in our space is a privilege and not a right. We're born into this world, we develop relationships with people, and then the people think that they have a right to access us. You hand them the key card, and it's like, oh, once I get the key card, I'm a member. I'm a lifetime member. It doesn't work that way at the gym. You could be a member for 15 years and then fall upon some hard times and not be able to pay the bill for a couple of months. Access gets denied. Access gets denied. If I get into this building and I pay rent for a few months, and then I start terrorizing the place and just damaging everything in the building, I can get kicked out of the place. Just like that. There's no lifetime achievement award, and giving somebody access to you does not mean that they are guaranteed to have it forever. But I always recommend to think very carefully of everything that you do before you do it, because words and actions, certain words and actions that you do can't be taken back. Once you say them, once you decide on that, that's it. So I'm a person who really thinks about things very carefully. Even before I approach one of these conversations, I'm like, was what this person did or said really out of pocket? Was it intentional? Is it something that we can solve or resolve with a conversation? Have I tried to have a conversation with them before? How did that conversation go? And then maybe sometimes I can't see everything myself as well as I need to see it. So I need to reach out to somebody else to get a second opinion or a third opinion. Hey, here's the situation. Here's the facts of the situation. And I need help from an outside perspective. What do you think about this? Once I've weighed out everything, then I'm like, this is the course of action that I potentially need to take, because I want to be sure before I do it. Perfect analogy. I appreciate how you frame these things. Thanks, Trisha. That's a specific gift of mine that I discovered leading like mental health recovery groups. That's important too. Yeah, some people are quick to act off of the emotions of the moment. Do not be a prisoner of the moment. It could be a situation where when you step back and you think about it, you analyze it, you assess the situation, you talk to other people about it. Don't talk to everyone about it, by the way. Just a few or one or two select people that you trust that can give you kind of neutral advice. You don't want your fan club. You don't want your fan club to be giving you the advice, because that advice is not real. They're just automatically going to be like, you know what I would have done? Get that person up out of there. You don't need to let this person disrespect your space. No, it's a personal situation for you. It's a personal situation for you. You are ultimately making the decision. The people around you are your advisors. So make sure the advisors that you have around you are doing things that are in your best interest, not just riding for you no matter what. A person who can tell you, you know what, Mark? I think that you were wrong here, or I think that you are looking at this the wrong way, and here's why. So that you know that if they tell you, yes, this person has got to go, you know that they also considered everything that you have given them in the details and said, yeah, this situation is not right. But then ultimately, at the end of all of that, we decide what we are able to live with. Sometimes, like in Lisa's case that she said earlier, you have a person where you're like, this is my person in life. Not my person the way that they say my person, but this is a person that is in my life that I know that I couldn't live without, or I don't want to live without. So instead of the hard cutoff, I'm going to do the soft cutoff, where they're cut out of certain situations and scenarios, and I have like a framework for my relationship with them, rather than it just being free flowing. We hit each other up all day and I reach out to them every time I have a scenario or a situation where I need something, or anytime that they need me. I have friends that I know that if they're calling me, it's definitely because they need something. It's not to check up on me. It's not just to say hi. It's because they need something from me. And I won't cut off those friends completely necessarily, depending on the level of our friendship. But I'm like, oh, this person's about to call me, or this person's calling me. I will call them back when I know that I have a large amount of time and emotional capacity to absorb whatever it is that they're going to tell me. But until then, I'm not going to answer that phone. And when I reflect on my part in the relationship that doesn't serve either one of us anymore, it may be the person doesn't need to go, but I haven't done my part in making it healthy. Yes, Trisha. This is a huge point that you just made. Sometimes it's you. It's not always the other person. Sometimes it's you. Sometimes you don't know why the energy is going a certain way, why the conversations are going a certain way, why the relationship's going a certain way. And the stepping back and doing a self-assessment as well. What did I say? What did they say? What am I doing here? What is my role in things? Sometimes you're like, you know what? It felt like it was them, but it's actually me. Maybe I'm the one who needs to change. And not many people think that way, Trisha. That was a good one. More people should. I love that. The soft cutoff. You really need to start writing a book. I'm working on it, Lisa. I'm working on it. Your perspective and advice is so level-headed. More people need to hear you. The issue that I have, honestly, with that is just I have like 1,000 books that I've started and stopped. So I'm trying to work on sticking to one thing and seeing that one thing through to the end, and then I can kind of expand. I think my issue is, honestly, I have too many things to talk about. I have too many different things to put in a book. So I go all over the place, but I'm working on one now that is regarding specifically how exercise has impacted, improved my mental health, how I used exercise as a means and a way to get through major mental health struggles. and it's going to be about a little bit about my background and history, and then I'm going to talk about my experiences doing obstacle course races, how I got into them, and things that I have learned in doing those. But thank you for that. Thank you for that. I even do that on here sometimes because I've gotten certain comments. I've talked about trolls on here, but I'm going to say this. I've actually encountered a scenario where somebody said something and I've been reading like negative, nasty comments all day, let's say, right? And then I read this comment in the midst of the actual troll comments. And I respond like, you're a troll. And then I've had people underneath that be like, Mark, that wasn't a troll comment. The context is this, and this person said this. You need to learn how to read the room, somebody told me one time. So I went back and looked at the comment that the person left. And I was like, you know what? I have to admit, I am wrong here. This specific comment was not a troll comment. I was just a little bit upset about all the other ones that I read and read this one in the midst of all the other ones and just assumed that it was meant as a troll comment. So I said, you're right. I apologize. It was just a rough day, tough day at the office. And I was in the wrong for just jumping on that comment without really reading it to make sure, reading it and looking at it and being sure that that person was trolling before I said that. So let me see. Make it a series, different focus for each. Yeah, but same thread throughout. Yeah. Because I have stuff about physical health. I have stuff about music. I have stuff about my hospital experience. There's just so many different branches. But you're right. It could be multiple books. What happened was I started off making it like an autobiography style. And that was my first issue. Maybe eventually I can put all the things together into like an autobiography style book. But for now, I need to have one primary focus. Mark has a calling. I can see him on TV being interviewed. I see it over and over. He definitely can write a book. Well spoken and great mentor. Thank you. I've been listening while I'm working, and this is good stuff and so helpful. I'm glad that it's helpful for you. Thank you to Trisha for suggesting this topic. I'm going to be doing, like I was saying, 2 member suggested topics per month starting in December. This was not part of the 2, but I was thinking of, because Mondays seem to be a good day to me to have a topic. I always want to have something on the hardest day of the week for some people. For a lot of people, Monday is a tough day of the week. And I feel like Sunday and Monday are days where we need to start off on the right foot, and we need positivity, and we need productive things that we can use for the rest of the week, because we start the week a certain way and then we get depleted as the week goes on, as we experience whatever is happening in life, work, at home, whatever. It's just like a car. You take it and you get the maintenance for the car, but then you use it, wear and tear. So at the beginning of the week, I just think that it's a really great place to start. And that's probably where I will be putting the member suggested topics the first and third Monday of each month. The first and third Monday of each month. I don't know if I'm specifically going to be able to do it at this time, because as some of you might know, I'm on a family leave right now because of what's going on with my dad's health. So that's the reason why I suddenly have time in the mornings like this, or like unlimited time to do this. But likely I'm going to be going back to work going into the new year and won't have as much time because YouTube doesn't pay that much. I still don't have, even with all these 400,000 views and all this content, 300 and something videos that I've put up in the last 3 months, I still haven't earned a dime from YouTube. Even with the super chats and the video views and all that kind of stuff, I haven't reached the $100 threshold to get paid by YouTube. YouTube has made so more off of me than I have off of them. I believe underneath my videos, when you're looking at the videos, there's a button that says join. There's a button that says join. But I'm glad you asked that, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like a demonstration video and put that up so that people can know, because I have actually never subscribed for a YouTube membership specifically. So I learned because of Trisha asking me about that, and I watched a YouTube demonstration video. That's how I found out. But anyways, I appreciate all of you for being on here. I love the fact that these are interactive, because I used to just make the video and put it up here, and I always thought that my content was great, but nobody was watching. I had 5 view videos, 10 views, 20 views. Like, it was very little views on the videos and almost no commentary. Almost no commentary on any of those videos. And how I started getting the commentary and the people was by going live and people saying, I just found this randomly and it's great. And I like the fact that you engage with us. And I like the fact that it's a safe space. That's like the biggest compliment for me, because people tell me that in my life, but to hear that online, that people is like, you are a safe space page, is a big deal. I even had a Big Brother cast member that I'm trying to get an interview with that told me yes, but not right now. That's the first thing that they said. They said, I checked out your interview with John Brennan, and I see a lane for, I like your approach, and I see a lane for you as a safe space podcaster, interviewer for us who are coming out of that intense like reality TV scenario. So those 2 words have been used by a lot of people. Really, Trisha, thank God it did take me 3 days to find the join button. Yeah, thank you guys for your feedback. I'm definitely going to make a video. I'm probably going to do that right now when I get off of here. I actually had to sign out and sign back in. Oh, actually, Trisha, though, for you, I believe that was because there's like a process for me to put the join button on there. And at the time that you asked that, I had done like 5 out of the 6 steps or whatever steps that it took to get it. And the one step that I didn't do was making the join button active. I don't know anything about this YouTube stuff. It's like my gift is what keeps people coming, not the technology part. I'm not that bad with technology, but I'm not that great with it either. So I'm learning how to become better at it for the purposes of you guys. Definitely am. Where are we here? First time listener. Welcome, Kelly B. Kelly B's in the house. I have found this very helpful. Thank you. Just subbed your channel. Praying for your dad and for your ventures. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I strongly appreciate that. Kelly B, we are a community that basically joined together due to a mutual love of the TV show Big Brother. And what happened with this channel was that I was posting up Big Brother lives, and then I was trying to get my channel monetized. They kept rejecting it for reused content. So I was annoyed by that. And I said, you know what? I'm just gonna hop on the video. So you can't tell me that my face and my voice are being reused. So I got on here and I started talking to everyone. And I started doing these live feed parties where I would show them the live feeds and I would be talking during the live feeds and flipping the camera back and forth from myself to the live feed. And then I started to read some of the comments that people were making in between these show comments, and they were talking to me about mental health. And I was like, wow, so I wonder if some of these people would stay on my page after the Big Brother season ends. And lo and behold, I got my page monetized 2 months after the Big Brother season ended by talking about, I do still talk about some reality TV stuff, Big Brother, The Challenge, Survivor from time to time, but mostly fitness, music, and mental health. So I feel a lot of pride with this page and this community that is here. Somebody even told me that my page is their therapy. Where are we at? Thank you for covering this topic. It was awesome as usual. Chat, you guys are wonderful, and I enjoy chatting with you. I enjoy making these. I enjoy putting them together, and I enjoy presenting them and everybody's engagement. These are like small focus groups because some of y'all were on here when I had 350, 400 people just commenting all this Big Brother stuff, and it was just rapid fire, and it wasn't really like this. But I have grown to love these just as much as I love those, honestly, because I love those hot Big Brother chats when the lives are going on, and I also love these small discussion groups where I specifically individually know each of you, and we share like specific stories and get to know each other, things like that. Yes, welcome to the page, Kelly B. Oh, you love Big Brother? So you found my page not because of Big Brother, or did you find a Big Brother post that I had made and then end up on the live? I'm just curious to know. This is my new favorite Big Brother hub. So glad you found this channel. You created such an incredible space. Yeah, and I've said this before, but I'm just kind of repeating it because of Kelly being on here. I had no intention of ever covering Big Brother or any TV show for that matter. That was never a goal of mine in life. One day I was just sitting down watching Taylor. Taylor was like sitting down and eating a bag of Lay's. So I think I just pulled out my camera, I recorded it and put it on my YouTube page. And it was like 10,000 views or something crazy like that. And I'm like, I do all this other stuff and it's getting me 5, 6, 7 views. And then I put up this video of Taylor eating Lay's and it gets 10,000 views. So I was just kind of going off of what's hot. I'm like, apparently Big Brother is a really popular thing to put on YouTube. And that's how I ended up on covering Big Brother at all. But I also wasn't talking during that time either. I was just putting up live feed videos. But because I wanted my page monetized is why I had to pivot. And which is why I started doing these lives and also just videos of me talking that I uploaded. Well, God has intervened for me this morning and connected me to the right place. I also love Big Brother. I'm a music freak and I'm into mental health. You found the perfect page. You found the perfect page, Kelly. Hope to see you here again. Where are we here? I found you by typing in mental health help. Wow. And then on YouTube and then filtering to live. Wow, that's really interesting. I love hearing people say that they found me for reasons other than Big Brother. I'm happy. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy for everybody who finds the page. But when I started the page, it was a mental health page. There was no Big Brother or anything on here about that. So that's really cool. And I can't tell you how excited I am. I'm so glad you're here. High five, Mark. Okay. So as Lisa knows, when I say I'm about to go, it means that I'm still going to be on here from anywhere from about 10 minutes to an hour plus, depending on what we're talking about. But I am really getting ready to go. I just want to acknowledge these comments. Happy you found the page too, Kelly. Yeah, Lisa pointed that out to me because Lisa would sometimes miss my live feed and then watch the replay. And then she would be like, not Mark saying I'm going in 10 minutes and is still on here for another hour. That's a common thing. The only way that I say that I'm leaving right now and I leave right now is if there's not a lot of people on the live and maybe nobody's making any comments, but it's like I'm just about to end the broadcast and then I see a next comment in there and then it just kind of fosters another thought and I keep going from there. But anyways, I am going for real. I hope that you guys have a great day. Welcome again, Kelly. And thank you to Trisha again for this great topic. And let me see. To be candid, I'm going through some things and canceling is a lot of money. You know what, Kelly? You're not the only person who has said this, Kelly, just to let you know. You are not the only person who has said this. And if I can be a resource to you and to anyone else out there who is going through certain issues and at this point in time doesn't have the time or the resources, or it's just hard for them to get up and go find a therapist or whatever, I'm glad to provide something in the interim for you, or maybe even for some people, something that works for you instead. Yeah, so have a great day, everyone, and I will chat with y'all later.